who holds the record for
everybody. I'm Chris Berman. Welcome to Week 7 of NFL Primetime. My longtime 12-year compatriot, I didn't mean to call you a patriot, my compronco, Tom Jackson. We have a 1-hour edition of NFL Primetime, just like the good old days. We had a week, Tom, in which there were games, only one game pitted teams with winning records against each other, so you knew. Some strange developments, like scores at half, 3-3, 3-3, 6-3, 6-0, 7-0, and an upset or two in the brewing, so plenty to show you. Well, first things first, a couple of anemic offenses got together, although one team, the Arizona Cardinals, 3-3, a game off first place. Now the hot cards coming into last year's winner of the NFC East, the New York Football Giants, who offenses look like the New York Baseball Giants as of late. Did either team get it going? Somewhere in the swamps of Jersey, we would find our answer. Meadowlands, Dave Brown used to quarterback the Giants, now backup Cards. Returns and he watches Danny Cannell find Chris Callaway for 14 yards and a first down. Cannell to Callaway. Hey, Giant passing game clicking. Then, from the 12 to Ike Hilliard down to the 1-yard line. Cannell rolls out, finds Charles Way, 7-0 Giants, and you know who's happiest? The big guy. Woo! Scoring drive of 66 yards, Tom, and then Giant defense had a lead, and their defense knows what to do with it.
Yeah, the Giants score, and you see this front four put the pressure on here. Mike Strahan getting the sack on Jake Plummer. Then Marcus Buckley going to do the same thing. You watch him come in there right up the middle of the football field. They get another sack. And then the next possession here, Robert Harris coming around. You see Jake holding on to those balls. Those last two was coverage sacks.
2.5 sacks by Harris, and the Giants had a bundle today. Second quarter, Giants driving, and Danny Cannell hits David Patton. He generals his way for the first down, and there's a flag on the play.
Yeah, Jameer Miller with the hit there, he drew the personal foul for roughing the passer, but you have to allow defenders the one step, and that looked like one step to me from Miller.
Well, this time Cannell will pitch to Gary Brown as Vanderbilt. Now look at Charles Way. Boom, get out of my way with the big block. That's what he does on the lead. 14-0 Giants. Arizona's defense, which has played so well, took a beating. That's Aeneas Williams. Before you saw Simeon Rice. This is Mark Smith hobbling. They all three continued, but it didn't help. Cannell to Chris Callaway. 19-yard touchdown. There they go. 27-7 Juba. Dave Brown replacing the ineffective Plummer. And hello, welcome back home, says Chad Ratsky. He makes him a Brock. Rough day for the Cards. Hey, Jim Fossil finally could take off the headset and smile about it as the Giants went going away 34-7. Brown with a buck-8. The Giants had a season-high 390 yards. Tom Cannell had a career-high 259 yards passing the football, 22 of 36. And the Giants' progress today on offense, Arizona, not.
Well, a couple of things we saw from the Giants. This is Fossil's game plan at its best. He found a feature runner in Gary Brown today. The 24 carries for 108 yards gives them the balance they need to take the pressure off of Danny Cannell. Much better throwing the football when you're running the football well. And then defensively, when they score, they have the opportunities to get the turnovers. You watch them do it today and also get the sacks. And then Jake Plummer. We're both big fans of Jake Plummer,
very much so.
But we are not seeing the progress, and I think that's the reason he was pulled at the end of the game today. Let's give this offense a chance to do something else with Brown at the helm.
2 picks and a fumble, so 3 turnovers responsible directly for Plummer, and a ray of hope for the New York Giants. And that's kind of what they did last year when they won the division. When we return, we've got a full hour. Trent Dilfer, after the bye week, could the Bucs get it going against winless Carolina? We know the Vikings have gotten it going. They were playing winless Washington. Was it a rout? You guess. With Mike and the gang, an hour and a half at 6:30 Eastern time on Monday gets you set for the Jets at the Patriots, and then you can turn over to ABC at 8 Eastern. We begin with the Blast. Bill Parcells back to Foxborough against his old quarterback Drew Bledsoe. He brings Curtis Martin with him. Plenty of subplots in this one. Please join us Monday here and there. The Carolina Panthers have yet to win this year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers used to know what that's like. Tony Dungy's team, one of the worst offenses in football, but after the bye, they have 3 of the next 4 at Ray J Stadium. Trent Dilfer, would he warm up? He was too warm. Bert Emanuel back, but he's not that fast, Trent. 3-0 Panthers in the second quarter. 3rd and 10. Next possession, Bucs. Riedel Anthony too hard, too tough. The Bucks, 0 offensive touchdowns in the first half this season. It's 3-3 at the half. This is one of the games we were talking about. Third quarter, here come the Panthers. Fred Lane on the flight. Up the middle for 6 yards. After the play, William Floyd pushing Hardy Nickerson. Hardy was with us last week. He didn't tell us he would do this.
Uncalled for.
You're going to hear from the league, I'm sure. 5 plays later, 3rd and goal. Steve Berline playing now that Kerry Collins gone. Can't find Floyd. Maybe his eyes were just misty. Casey with a field goal at 6-3, Carolina. Bucks offensively still sputtering. Kevin Green, his 11th sack of the year, 25 and a half in 22 games in Carolina. Late in the third quarter, hey, Wesley Walls is still a good weapon even though the team's winless.
Yeah, Wesley Walls, great hands down around the goal line. A good job of trying to get it in, taken down at the 1.
2 plays later from the 1, Fred Lane, Penny Lane. He's in his ears, he's in your eyes, he does the celebration. The Panthers lead at 13-3 after 3. And the Bucks pull off a comeback. 3rd and 5. Warwick Dunn had a big game, almost 100 yards for him. Down to the 8 with a 12-yard run. 3 plays later, 3rd and goal at the 1, Dilfer. Play action to Mike Allstott and Dilfer. We would see this roll out again in a more exciting game, although this wasn't bad at the end. Bucks 13-10 with 5 minutes to go. They're down by 3. Ensuing drive, the Panthers 3rd and 8. Berline, Anthony Johnson, Derek Brooks, stripping to the football. 1, 2, 3 Bucks. Ball on the ball. It's Tampa Bay. No, it's not. It's Carolina ball. You kidding?
Yeah, Anthony Parker on this ball. Musa Muhammad is going to come in and get it for the Panthers. Now, Don Capers wanted this to be called possession and then a fumble recovery. Would have given him a first down. The referees didn't see it that way. Never thought that the Bucks actually had possession.
The Bucks couldn't believe they didn't recover, but that looked like a good call, so Carolina got it. They had to punt it, though. And here's Trent Gill for under 2 minutes to go. Emmanuel broken up by Rod Smith. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds later, here comes the flag, and Dom is not exactly singing. He's livid. First down, Bucks. Next play, Dilfer to Carl the Truth Williams. 29 yards. The Bucks lead at 16-13. But remembering their old days, they missed the extra point to give Carolina a shot to tie it with a field goal and not have to go for the touchdown. They get a good field goal kicker in John Casey. He's kicked a 53-yarder already today. Berline responds to Muhammad inside the 35 into Casey's range. It's going to be a 52-yarder for the tie to send it to overtime. And wait a minute, there's a flag. Oh, and the Bucks give them 5 more yards. Offside. So it's a 47-yard field goal. It's long enough. It's high enough. It's deep enough. It's wide left. Shoot off the cannons of the galleon. The Bucks have come from behind to win at 16-13. And the Panthers' nightmare continues. They fall to 0-6. The Bucks are now 3-3, 96 yards for Warwick Dunn. And Tampa Bay, frankly, dodged the bullet, Tom.
Well, and you see Dilfer, he's going to be happy with the win. He throws for about 65% here. It just doesn't feel like he's doing that, but he got the good rushing effort from Dunn today, the 96 yards.
But Tampa wins it, as we said, and they're in the hunt. When we return, Oilers, Bengals will go to the AFC Central next. Eddie George starting to gear it up for the Oilers big time. Without the Bucks, who would step up for the Steelers at home against the Ravens. We'll be back.
Right there, he's think and run. Harris gets behind him for the touchdown.
Nice pass. Archie Bell and the Drells. If you thought they would do the tighten up, Eddie George made sure that would not happen. Eddie George up the middle, 9 yards. We wait for him to get going this year, and maybe this was the game. 9 more yards up the middle, and he's got the block.
Yeah, watch the center, Mark Stepnoski. A great job of turning the nose tackle. You see the hole open up. The defense starts, the rest of the defense drifts, and a nice hole for Eddie George.
Now McNair to his #1 draft pick, Kevin Dyson. 9 yards, slicing and dicing his first NFL reception. George up the middle. Greg Myers, get out of my way. 15-play, 66-yard drive leads to a field goal, 10-0 Oilers. George, a lot better in this game, obviously, than his first 2 home games. He's starting to gear up. McNair, play action to Dyson. Makes a nice catch along the sideline, 20 yards. 6 plays later, McNair scrambles. Oh, he's so good at this. Safe, 8 yards. 6 plays later, McNair from the 1, touchdown. 20-0 Oilers at the half. They scored on all 4 possessions in the first half. Yardage 304 to 72 in the first half against the beleaguered Bengals. Third quarter, Neil O'Donnell back to pass. Sack Darrell Lewis. Thunder! Joe Bouch brings it up and scores. 30-0. The Oilers The Bengals haven't turned the ball over much this year, but here it was coming. Screen pass, Corey Dillon. Drop. Refs don't blow the whistle. Josh Evans. Rumbles! 76 yards for a touchdown. Was it a touchdown? Jeff Fisher says it should be. The refs huddled on this one, Tom.
I thought the refs did a great job here because Corey Dillon never actually had possession of that football. One of the reasons he didn't turn and chase it, and I thought a great job by the refs to review that call.
But what difference did it make? They ended up getting a touchdown later anyway, 44-14. The Oilers was 515 yards of total offense. McNair threw for 277. George ran for $107. Tennessee scored on their first 6 possessions. They're the team at 3-3, and the Bengals fall to 2-4. Staying in the AFC Central, Ravens at the Steelers. Last play, first quarter, 3-3 game. Cordell Stewart. This is a bizarre one. Off the hands of his ex-teammate Rod Woodson. Coming back to 3 Rivers for the first time. Courtney Hawkins turns it into a 48-yard gain.
And not often will you see a defender make a play as good as Rod Woodson makes right here, and the ball not really change directions. Courtney Hawkins, a good job of concentrating and pulling the pass.
Jerome Bettis, the boss on the sidelines for Bill Cowher. He was hoping Richard Huntley or maybe David Brinkley would get it going. Huntley for 2 yards. It's a 2-yard loss. Say goodnight, Richard Huntley. Later in the quarter, Huntley stripped by Tony Siragusa. James Jones recovers the fumble. Baltimore kicks the field goal, 6-3 lead at the half. So another one of those low-scoring games at half. Ravens blitz third quarter. Stewart. They gamble, they lose. Charles Johnson, 55 yards, 10-6. Steelers.
Yeah, Dwayne Starks is going to be the corner on this play. We take a look here. He does the one thing you never want to do. He gets his back turned. He has to spin all the way back around, and Charles Johnson is gone.
Then Eric Zier, tipped by Keevan Henry, intercepted by Dwayne Washington, the GOAT last week, as Pickens burned him late, this time with a big interception down to the 47-yard line. First play, fourth quarter, ensuing drive. Stewart. Picked off by Dwayne Starks, the first-round pick of the Ravens. Jim Harbaugh, captain comeback, would relieve Eric Zier. No time to wallow with Eric Zier. But Harbaugh's pass picked off by Carnell Lake.
Yeah, and Carnell Lake right there is the guy locked up on Jermaine Lewis. Very smart move by Jim Haslett, the defensive coordinator.
5 minutes to go in the game. Stewart, Courtney Hawkins, 27-yard gain. There's a good play, and a 15-yard face mask penalty moves it to the Ravens 23. Cowher congratulates Hawkins. They kick a field goal to make it 13-6. Still a game here. Jermaine Lewis so dangerous on the return. Gets it at his own 2. Cuts left. It's a fumble. Chris Oldham recovers for the Steelers. Ed Marcher brought his Ravens. Turned it over 5 times in the game. First 5 games this year, they had only 4 turnovers. So the Steelers wasn't pretty. They win it 16-6. It's up their mark to 4-2 despite carrying the ball, what, Tom? 30 times for only 79 yards. Now, as you look at some of the numbers, Huntley, nobody could make up for the bust. But this is a game that Pittsburgh gave up only 6 points at home. This is a team, the Ravens/Browns, that hasn't won in 3 Rivers since the 80s. They gave up only 6 points at home, yet it's in doubt for the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game.
Well, I think you give a little bit more credit to Cordell Stewart, although he and Bill Cowher will still be concerned about consistency on this offense. Cordell now up around 200 yards today, and his passing offense made up a little bit for the lack of ground game with Jerome Bettis missing. Give the defense a lot of credit for hanging in. And again, I think Jim Haslett knew that the go-to guy at the end of the game was going to be Jermaine Lewis. He made sure that he had his best player, Carnell Lake, on Jermaine Lewis. And Carnell Lake is, to me, I think he's the best player defensively in the league.
Well, you give the defense credit. They've given up only 87 points all year. That's one of the best totals in the NFL. The offense has scored only 86.
You'll have to do the math for me later.
Well, it's unusual for a team that's 4-2. When we return, the game of the day, Doug Flutie, Bills, Jaguars, what a finish. Vikings, Redskins, what a start and finish for Minnesota. Stay with us.
Go face them and fight them. Be savage again.
Rain coming down. The field will be wet.
Excitement electrifies us, and victory spikes the air. You grow ragged and weary and wet.
This is when the big dogs come out.
In driving rain, pro football is played.
Well, going into the day, it was either going to be one of the great upsets of all time or business as usual. Minnesota 5-0, the Washington Redskins 0-6. As we guessed on this morning's edition of Sunday NFL Countdown, it would be one of two ways. But in the end, the question lingered. Why did they play this game? Norv Turner, it's been a nightmare. The nation's capital for him and the Skins. No score. Hey, maybe the worm's going to turn. Randy Moss, with his back turned on the punt return team, the ball hits him. Darryl pounces on it. And the Redskins are at the 2-yard line. So they give it to Terry Allen. Why not? And it's a 2-yard drive for a touchdown.
Nice drive.
7-0 Skins. So the Vikings try to play comeback football at home. No problem. Randall Cunningham down the field. Andrew Glover, all he does, catch touchdown. Tied at 7-all. A great matchup between one of the all-time best at corner, the diminutive Darrell Green, and the rookie Randy Moss. Green giving many an inch away. First quarter still tied at 7. And Cunningham goes deep to Moss in the end zone, and it's pass interference. Darrell almost had to do it.
Well, you watch it again. It's a great effort by Darrell Green, trying to climb the ladder and get up to that 6'4" that Randy Moss has on him. And right there, he can't help but interfere with him.
And sets up the Vikings at the 1-yard line, and Leroy Horde into the end zone, 14-7 Minnesota. Late in the second quarter, it's Minnesota again. And Cunningham, look at this. This is like going over the upright, Tommy, over the crossbar. It's a field goal. No, it's a catch by Chris Carter. All he does.
Catch touchdown.
21-7 at the night. And now, poor Norv, he's seen it all year. Gus Farrat got the start today. He drops back to find Michael Westbrook with Corey Fuller. Vikings give up a lot of yards, but boy, are they opportunistic. Trent Green discusses it with Farrat, trying to cheer him up. Redskins trying to move the ball. Brad Badger, a false start. 11 penalties today for the Skins. And 11 for 94 yards. And Cunningham. Look at the flip to Robert Smith, and I don't think everyone really goes that hard to make this tackle at the end. It's sad to see it. 19 yards. So a 7-0 Redskin lead turns into a 41-7 Viking win. The Redskins' worst start since 1961 when they went 0-9 under Bill McPeak. And as we said this morning, he wasn't exactly the second coming of Joe Gibbs or George Allen. And Tommy, we don't mean to dump on this again because Minnesota is loaded.
Yeah.
And for Washington to pull this up would have been unbelievable. But this was not a surprise.
Well, I think that certainly Washington is now a team that has emotional problems. But when you look at the Minnesota Vikings, it's so enjoyable to watch Coach Green work with all these weapons. And we saw a couple more added today. You saw Andrew Glover, the tight end, make use of when they got down around the goal line. Leroy Horde, a great inside the 10 runner. You saw them make use of him. You got your 100 yards from Robert Smith. You saw the problems that the 3 wides present to the defensive back. So, again, I think that the Minnesota Vikings right now are clicking on all cylinders. But Dennis Green is just beginning, I think, and this is with all credit to Dennis Green. He knows a great football team and a great scheme, but I think he's still learning how to use that scheme, and he's enjoying doing it.
A lot of weapons. His defense is playing usually with the lead, and with the Packers losing on Thursday night, the Vikings now own a 2-game lead in a division which 4 teams were playoff teams a year ago. As we go inside the numbers, well, running against the Skins, it's happened since Joe Gibbs has departed. In 87 games, Richie Pettibone, Norv Turner starting in 93, 43 of them, so that's about half, have allowed at least 130 yards of rushing, and of course their one-loss record as a result, not very good.
Inside the Numbers is brought to you by Visa, the official card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be. www.visa.com.
And we return, the only game between teams with winning records coming in, the Falcons and Saints in Atlanta. And, hey, the Colts, did they pull off one of the biggest upsets in a long time? They sure look like it at the stick.
That is.
4-1 Atlanta at home against 3-2 New Orleans. Mike Ditka trying to get off the 2-game losing schneid against old friend Dan Reeves and new friend Terry Collins. Third-string quarterback now for the Saints. Hey, Jamal Anderson, first-string running back for the Falcons. 31 yards, and look at the play he makes to make it 10-7 hot Atlanta in the second quarter.
And you're going to get another bird's-eye view of it here from the defensive perspective. He breaks it to the outside, and when he gets to the 5-yard line, he's not going to be denied the end zone.
Anderson, 132 yards rushing on 25 carries. Chris Chandler. Here's one of the least-known stats in football. Chandler to Tony Martin, 45-yard touchdown, 17-7 Falcons, 18 straight games that Chandler has thrown a touchdown pass. Later in the second quarter, his day would end when he gets hammered by Mark Fields on the field. So, Steve DeBerg is the backup. 44-year-old Steve DeBerg has to warm up immediately. Look at it again, and it hurts to watch. Chandler's been oft injured. I mean, that's a tough bruised rib, sprained left shoulder. They'll see how treatment responds this week, but he was gone. They haven't won a game when she started and left. It would change today, although Steve DeBerg sacked first series, third quarter, safety by Wayne Martin. Only 17-16 Atlanta now. Falcons, third quarter, minus 15 yards. The Saints taking victory on the road. Third quarter. Former Falcon quarterback, now Saint Billy Joe Tolliver. Pitch to Lamar Smith. It's a fumble. Cornelius Bennett recovers for Atlanta. Terry Collins watching as the Saints have lost 3 fumbles at this time. Still a 17-16 game, though. And Steve DeBerg, the oldest player since George Blanda, to Bob's sister, Christian. Touchdown! 24-16, his first TD pass in 5 years since 93. Congratulations, Bergie. Tolliver, back to pass. Picked off by Eugene Robinson from
Hartford, Connecticut.
He takes it to the 10, to the 5, touchdown, his 50th career interception. He's the active leader, and the Falcons lead 31-16. Tolliver, though, Saints stay in it. Keith Poole swims for 82 yards. Touchdown, 31-23. You know what's coming with 3 and change to go. Onside kick, Saints ball, but it didn't go 10 yards. So, Bobby April special teams have to redo it. Saints try it again. Doug Bryan kicks it away from coverage. One problem. Tim Dwight, he was the leader in college in this category last year, makes him pay, returns it all the way to the 50. The Falcons ran out the clock. 2 guys that were together a long time ago. Coach Landry and Dallas, a lot of respect for each other, a lot of respect for what both have done this year. Falcons beat the Saints 31-23. And in the game, we told you, Anderson, 132 yards. Martin caught balls for 116. What about Bergie? 7 of 10, the touchdown for 60 yards. Tommy, Atlanta Falcons, since the middle of last year, are 11-3.
Yeah, well, much of the credit for that goes to Dan Reeves. The first thing he teaches you as a ball player is discipline and not turning the ball over. And I think you see those things from the Falcons. Of course, he's had Chris Chandler healthy for most part of the season until today. But when you look at Jamal Anderson, the running game, which he uses to set up the pass, that is standard Dan Reeves operational procedure. And I think today, as we went into this game, the New Orleans Saints had not fumbled ball, had not lost a fumble. They lost 3 today, including an interception. The Falcons did not have a turnover.
You've been with me for 12 years. Yeah. When you came here, Steve DeBerg was not a grizzled veteran, but he was a veteran in the league.
Yeah, I played with Steve for a while.
He's still playing, and he's scoring. I mean,
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Having fun, and the Falcons are having one. They are 5-1, still tied for first. Undefeated Jacksonville went into Buffalo. Mark Brunell trying to beat Bruce Smith and company. Doug Flutie saved the best for last. They don't even write scripts like this at Disney. We'll be back. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 2 years ago, kind of ended the Buffalo Bills' reign as a Super Bowl contender as we know it, when they went in and upended them in a wild card round of the playoffs. The Jags have been contenders ever since. They're 5-0 this year. The Bills have struggled. Today, they unveiled a new weapon. Rob Johnson hurt. Doug Flutie making his first NFL start at quarterback in 9 years. Flutie, in Canada's 8 seasons, was the outstanding player in the CFL 6 times. Averaged 5,000 yards a year passing, 34 touchdown passes, over 500 yards a year rushing. But he's too short in the NFL, right? Well, a new page in Buffalo Bills history was unveiled today because we learned that no one circles the wagon like Doug Flutie. and Buffalo Bills. Flutie tries to drop kicks early, not because you can do everything, which you can, but to test the win. Hey, Jacksonville came in banged up. Rookie running back Tavian Banks starting for rookie running back Fred Taylor. And Banks, such a star in the Big Ten, left for 5. Then down to the 4-yard line on the first drive of the game. 2 plays later, Banks a touchdown. Hey, this is why the Jags are 5-0. They got a great line. Get an outstanding team, and it's 7-0 Jacksonville in a 10-minute drive. Buffalo hardly had the ball in the first quarter. Wind would pick up. Hold on to your pants. Bills down 7-0. This is Doug Flutie. Look at this shovel, and
yeah, throws it to Jay Reamersma and then throws a great block. I don't know if we've ever seen a quarterback throw the ball and then block for the receiver after he throws
on
to
the
him.
same play. Flutie, a quick slant. Eric Moles, touchdown, 12 yards. We're tied at 7. The fans, 12,000 walk-up this week, eating their Flutie flakes. That goes to charity, to autism. At any rate, we're tied at 7. Bruce Smith against Tony Baselli, best against best.
Yeah, battle royale between Baselli and Smith. And you see all of the technique that Baselli uses, the strength, the speed to the outside. Bruce Smith struggling a little bit. And then watch this, Smith moving to the outside. You're going to see Brunell start to flush to his left. Smith there for part of a sack.
First time in 3 games, Bruce has gotten a sack against Tony Baselli. The Jags lead 10-7 in the third quarter. Antoine Smith, second-year running back, hits a fumble. Tony Brackett, who batted down several passes today, picks it up. Watch this. Whoop! He's going to flip it to Aaron Beasley. And Beasley makes a great run all the way down to the 12-yard line. But the Bills defense held him to a field goal. Remember it, 13-7, not 17-7. Bills next possession, first and goal at the 8. Flutie, pump fake, jump fake, jump, pump. Broken up by Beasley. Wow.
Well, Doug Flutie is just so unique. You watch this. Defenders are used to a guy pumping him, but not jumping and pumping. He gave him everything he had, full package.
They've traded field goals, 16-10. The Jags lead it. 3rd and 2. And Brunell is sacked by Phil Hansen and Pat Williams on a 3rd and 2. 2-minute warning. They punt. So Flutie gets the ball with just under 2 minutes to go. Down 16-10. Quick pass to Andre Reed. He barely holds on. The Jags wanted the call, but the ref made a good call. Possession, Reed, catch. Next play, Thurman Thomas. Inside draw, 9 yards. Now this is the one I like. 2 plays later, 3rd and 1. Get the first down first. Not exciting. They get a first down, they call a timeout. Rather than panic, now they make a plan. Joe Pendry, offensive coordinator. 2 plays later, 2nd and 6. Flutie, shotgun to Eric Moles against Chris Hudson. Catch! It's a touchdown! Flutie has done it! They pulled off a win, 17-60. Wait a minute. The ref says he was down. So now the Bills have to regain their composure. They spiked the ball. What happened, Tom?
That cost him a down. You're going to see his knee hit down. Moses going to the end zone right there. So that was the correct call by the officials.
So now the Bills have spiked it. It's 2nd down for Wade Phillips. 2nd and goal from the 1. Flutie, lob to Moles, incomplete. 3rd and goal. Another play. Try the other side. Flutie, lob, Andre Reed, incomplete. 1 chance left. 16-10 Jaguars. 4th and goal. Wade Phillips asking for quiet. 18 seconds to go. Flutie, handoff. No, it's a bootleg. It's a touchdown. Doug Flutie and the Bills. Touchdown. Not quite the Lambeau leap because Doug's not that big. He can't leap over this thing, but he can leap over buildings with a single bound. Coughlin, amazed. Look at the play again. Fakes to Thurman Thomas. More on it in a moment. Flutie beats everyone to the end zone. The kick, good by Coughlin. He was trying to steer it wide. 17-16. The Bills. Little guy meet the biggest guy. Flutie, Bruce Smith embrace an unbelievable finish as the Buffalo Bills were 0. I've lost my voice for the first time of the year. You look at the numbers, so despite the fact, look at Brunell just throwing for 119 yards, although he was cool on a lot of 3rd down plays. Afterwards, Flutie talked about the winner.
We had a check with me play where we were going to run one play or another, and Thurman thought I called the other, and everybody else blocked the one play, and when I turned to pitch to Thurman, he was running the other play, so I ran the pitch, basically. So it was a busted play and not a naked bootleg.
Coach, what were you looking for on the final play defensively?
Naked. Everybody in the ballpark knows it's a naked.
Well, part of the reason he knows what Flutie can do, Tom Coughlin was the offensive coordinator for Flutie's first 3 years at Boston College. They go a long way back together. Now, we were calling for it on second and third down because do you remember 10 years ago, Flutie was quarterback of the Patriots. They were down to the Colts in the final 30 seconds. And, I mean, it's, except for where the ball is, it's almost a replay. Different uniform, 10 years ago, bootleg left corner, touchdown, and the Patriots won then. In the NFL, Flutie is now 10-5 as a starter. You know what he's done in Canada. He's just a winner.
Well, you could talk about a lot of things with Doug Flutie today. The poise down around the goal line when you get into a game-winning situation. But I thought his movement throughout the game offered some special problems to the Jaguars defense. He is a lot more athletic than people give him credit for. People always want to talk about the lack of height. I'd rather talk about the athleticism that he brings to the position and the pressure that it puts on a defense. It's not only necessary to have that athleticism when you run the bootleg, but to get it to the end zone when, as Tom Coughlin said, everybody is thinking about naked bootleg. You have to have the speed to do that. And then I think the most important thing that he does for this ball club, and he got contributions from other people as well, but he makes his football team excited about playing. And I think that's something, that's an intangible that he happens to bring to the game.
There are a Sunday night game next, and this is no disrespect to Rob Johnson, who will be the starter, I guess, but you know that rib injury? I think next week, I don't know that he will go. The defense held the Jaguars to 2 short-range field goals when they could have given up touchdowns. And give the Jags a little credit, because they were between a Monday nighter and a game at Denver next week, and they played okay. But Doug Flutie, unbelievable. The 3 scoring drives actually were pretty quick, including a drive of 80 and a drive of 70 yards. The rest of the game, well, you see the Jaguars overall controlled the time of possession. The other rest of the game when the Bills had the ball, not a lot. 3 scoring drives, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Give the Bills the win. When we return, Dan Marino threw great Monday night. Could he keep going against the Rams? And the Bears, Dave Wanstead, could he cook up an upset at home against his old team, the Cowboys? Stay with us. The Dolphins, Jimmy Johnson, Dick Vermeil, exchanging pleasantries. Hey, the AFC has dominated the NFC, but 2 of the NFC's wins have come from the Rams. Dan Marino throwing the end zone, intercepted Billy Jenkins. So a scoreless game continues in the first. Jenkins returns to the 25, and Marino, who threw for 300 yards Monday night, just gave me the picture. And what happened here, Tom?
Spot shot up there is Robert Jones, former Rams linebacker, now starting for the Dolphins. You see him right there come up and meet Robert Holcomb. Then take a look at him again, putting the pressure on Tony Banks. He's going to come in right there as he forces the incompletion. And then again, look at him do a great job on Holcomb and bringing him down.
That no-name Dolphins defense has helped set up. Just seconds to go. Marino incomplete to Lamar Thomas, but there's a flag. Pass interference on Todd Light. Thomas says good call. First thing, haven't scored yet. First and goal for the Dolphins. 22 seconds left. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar stopped short. No timeouts for Miami. Marino throws it away. Give himself another shot with 11 seconds to go. Marino to Rondé Gadsden, former arena player. 7-0 Dolphins. They broke it through at the half. The Rams going nowhere on offense against the Miami defense. Meanwhile, fourth quarter, still 7-0. Marino, long for Thomas. Another flag. Another interference on Lennox. This was the Dolphins' best play of the game. Throw it up, get a flag. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, if I may call you Kareem, runs right for 10 yards. 2 plays later, rookie John Avery. Poison Avery, 12 yards. 2 plays later from the 19. Marino to Avery. Well, that's a pretty pass, a good catch. And they beat Roman Candle Pfeiffer. Avery's first NFL touchdown. The little guy's ecstatic. The Dolphins, the no-name defense back playing well, beat the Rams 14-0. First time the Dolphins have had 2 shutouts. Same season. First time since 1985.
Yeah, and that 114 yards for Dan Marino doesn't include those interference penalties. So with a lack of wide receiver talent, I think that at times, Boom, that's exactly what he's looking for.
Well, the Dolphins stopped that losing streak of a couple of games. They upped their mark to 4-2 to maybe get into a tie if New England loses on Monday night. 49ers thought they had a breeze against the Colts. Not the case. Cowboys came into Chicago. They smell the bear trap. We'll be back. Cowboys in the Windy City to take on the one-win Bears of former friend Dave Wannstedt. First quarter, no score. Jason Garrett from
Princeton.
passes 15 yards to Michael Irvin. Irvin, the 10th player. They had 700 balls. I didn't know he was from Princeton. That didn't catch you by surprise. All those Ivy Leaguers. Edgar Allan Poe Bennett quotes the football nevermore as a fumble. The Cowboys recover. I mean, here, the Bears have fumbled. They turned over 8 times last week. Jason Garrett, Michael Irvin, touchdown. But Walt Harris, no, makes the steal. It's ruled incomplete. Wannstedt wants to pick.
Well, what a nice pass by Jason Garrett. A good grab by Michael Irvin, but you can see he never has possession. Walt Harris, a great job of pulling it away. By the time he gets possession, there's a foot on the line. He's out of bounds.
Cowboys settle for a field goal on the drive. Then second quarter with the score still 3-0. Garrett passed to Ernie Mills. Marlon Forbes starts him short of the end zone. The Cowboys held to another field goal. So again, they're in deep. They have trouble. Now Jason Garrett fumbles the snap. But, oh, the Bears could have fallen on the ball, Tom, but Chris Warren saves it.
Yeah, and absolutely. John Theory has to get on this football and give his team an opportunity to score in a close situation down around the goal line.
Third quarter, it's still 6-0. Eric Kramer to Bobby Ingram, breaks a tackle, and he picks up 31 yards. 2 plays later, the Bears, who in their last 11 games have been outscored in the third quarter 95-0. It's Chris Penn, a touchdown. The streak is over. Kramer, touchdown. The Bears lead at 7-6. Late third quarter after Dexter Coakley pick, Jason Garrett to David Lafleur. He shoots, he scores. Cowboys lead at 12-7. They go for 2. Garrett, incomplete. Remember it. Still 12-7. Now 12-10. Bears with their own rally caps. Yeah. Eric Kramer. Hey, he's... Of all the quarterbacks in the league that doesn't get the pub, he knows what he's doing, Tom. 18 yards to Alonzo Mays. 8 yards to Bobby Ingram. First down. 5 plays later. 15 seconds to go. Chip Jacobs. 38-yard field goal. Good! It's good! The Bears have beaten the Cowboys 13-12. They pull the upset. Kramer going for 233 yards, a lot of them to Chris Penn, who had a nice game.
Yeah, and certainly a little support from the run game, but I think you have to wonder in the midst of this success, look at the 12 carries, 30 yards, Curtis Enis. What happened to Curtis Enis?
Miami had to 78, but Dallas falls to 4-3. They're still the only team over 500 in the NFC East. Well, the Indianapolis Colts obviously struggling with the rookie quarterback Peyton Manning, 18-point underdog in San Francisco against the high and mighty San Francisco 49ers. A blowout, right? That's why they play the game. Steve Young, he gets 300 yards passing today, would put himself in the record book. 6 straight. Only Joe Montana and he have done it 5 times. Very early, Jerry Rice catches a pass. Ian Art Monk, the NFL record, 183 straight games in which they caught at least 1 pass. Colts, first play from scrimmage. Peyton Manning, Marshall Faulk. Marshall Faulk. I said Marshall Faulk. Burton Hanks gets flattened. Faulk, cut, go, all the way. 65 yards. Done shit. Watches the Colts lead 7-0. To the next possession on the Niners punt. Rico Clark doink off his head. Free ball. Jason Belzer picks it up. Bells are ringing off of Clark's head. Only R.W. McQuarters saves the touchdown. Mariucci can't believe it. But he watches Peyton Manning find Marvin Harrison. 4 yards, touchdown, 14-0. Manning picking on Antonio Langham. 21-3. Steve Young picked off by Jeff Burris. Burris could go over 100 yards. Look at Young, the only one that can get him. Chases him down. But the Colts. Tom, Burris called for holding.
Well, I certainly think a very questionable call. It looks like both he and Owens tied up. He does a good job of letting go on time, and that's why you see Coach Morris so upset.
So 2 plays later, Young to J.J. Stokes. Monty Montgomery pushes him out. It's ruled no catch. But wait a minute, Tom. They look at it again or they think about it.
Well, there's certainly a judgment call on the officials' part. They talk it over here. They see Stokes up in the air. They deem that he would have come down in bounds. It's a question that'll never be answered.
Wow, a couple calls really go the Niners' way. Jim Morris says, hey, my son coaches for the Niners as an assistant. I'm the senior guy here. Give me a break. They don't get it. It's 21-10. Young pass tipped. I mean, we've seen this before. Robert Blackman, but there's a flag on the play? You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, well, you take a look at this and you judge it from home if you think it's holding. Looks like he wrapped him for just a second, didn't impede his progress down the field. The referee saw it differently.
So 2 plays later, after call goes for the Niners, Young to Owens, 10 yards, and now a big Colt lead is only 21-17 at the half, and Morris says, can I explain a few things to you? And I can understand his frustration, that's for sure. Manning, quick pass to Starvin Marvin Harrison, pass Langham, and he could go all the way. 61 yards, 28-17 the Colts. They had a field goal, make it 31-17. So the Niners in the comeback mode. Young, Irv Smith, 22 yards. 3 plays later, Young, play fake. This rollout left by quarterbacks who can move is a thing to do, guys. 31-23 to miss the 2-point conversion. Young avoids the sack, completes to Chuck Levy, down to the 22. 2 plays later, 6 minutes left. Young scrambling. Look at this run, Tom. Steve Young fights off tackles, pulls at the 1, touchdown, 31-29. Wow. Mariucci knows he has to go for 2. Young to Rice. That might be a good play. We're tied at 31. And at 20 to go, the Colts driving. 3rd and 2. Falk. Stopped by Winford Tubbs. Mike Vanderjagt. 54-yard field goal. No good. Moore was hoping. But now with 43 seconds to go, the Niners driving. Young. Deep for Stokes. You got to be kidding. Tyrone Poole. Flag. Yes, sir. That sets up Wade Ritchie. It's like an extra point. 24 yards. 6 seconds to go. Steve Young did get his 300 yards to get in the record book. The 2 rushing touchdowns. The Niners beat the Colts 34-31 despite a valiant effort by Indy.
Well, and you certainly don't fault the 49ers for the calls by the official. They did a good job of coming back, but give credit to the Colts for hanging in.
When we return, late game. Oh, you got to see the Chargers and the Eagles. Could anybody drive from shortstop to third base at Qualcomm Stadium? That was the question. Jones era beginning in San Diego. New head coach replacing the fired Kevin Gilbride, hoping that Ryan Leaf will turn over a new leaf. Leaf to screen to tight end Freddie Jones. Races 20 yards to the 13-yard line. That doesn't really look like Freddie Jones to me, but at any rate, the Chargers 64 yards on the opening drive, led it 3-0. Second quarter, 3rd and 17. Leaf sacked by Hugh Douglas, Tom.
Yeah, but take a look downfield at the coverage. You're going to see none of the receivers come open quickly enough. This defines coverage sack.
Leaf's problems continued. Pass over the middle. Incomplete. Now that's Freddie Jones. He couldn't come up with it. Leaf only 23 yards passing in the first half. Hey, they're getting ready for the World Series on this field on Tuesday at the Big Q. And look at Chris Bonio. He has trouble kicking it from behind second base. They have to leave the dirt on the infield. We're tied at 3. Good luck, Yankees and Padres. Natron Means. From second base, running over Mike Zorich. 2nd and 1 in the 3rd quarter. Means from shortstop. He runs all the way to foul territory. And then Means. Natron Means. Business. Later on, touchdown run. 10-3 the Bolts. And Charger fans waiting for the pass. Rodney Pete's pass. Tipped by John Perella. Intercepted by Norman Big Hand. Look at the big man rumble and bumble. And the Chargers lead at 13-10. Eagles driving 3rd and 9. Pete. Deuce Staley. He's an ace. Down to the 30. 1st and 15 after a false start for the Eagles, who have won 1 in a row. Pete to Russell Copeland. Oh, trying to dig. Forced the fumble. Junior Seau saves the day. The Chargers win for the first time since week 2. Chargers beat the Eagles 13-10, despite only 83 yards passing from Leaf. Natron, 21 carries, 112 yards, and a tough touchdown.
Primetime Players is brought to you by 1-800-COLLECT, the easy way to save.
My Primetime Players, one of the most exciting performances we've seen in a long time. Doug Flutie, the bomb, the bootleg on 4th down. Gets the game ball as Buffalo is agog, Tom.
Yeah, and my game ball goes to Natron Means of the Chargers, 112 hard yards, 1 touchdown, give June Jones a victory to kick off his coaching career in San Diego.
Home teams were 12-0 on this day. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty hungry. I've worked
You
with a
didn't
pretty
give
good
me
appetite. They're great. Fully played. For Tom Jackson, I'm Chris Berman. Hope you enjoyed the hour-long version of NFL Primetime. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to the land.
ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Now, this is a show about the dullest plays, the most tedious moments in football. And the reason that I wanted to get you here is because when this show gets so boring, it's so dull, and everybody starts, at least we'll be able to cut back to you, and you'll be able to liven things up.
57. Kowakowski. I coached his dad at Detroit.
What's your dad's name?
Kowakowski.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the dullest show ever, co-hosted by beloved NFL icon Jerry Glanville. Today, we will answer some mind-numbing questions, such as, what are football's dullest plays?
It's like a tomb in here right now. This crowd is in stunned disbelief.
They finally move away from it.
What riveting conversations do dynamic head coaches have before the game?
I can't concentrate. I can't focus today.
Schottenheimer, you're getting out a little too far.
Well, I'm going to try to back up, but I know you...
And just what is the get-back coach? And why should we even care? It's the dullest show ever. Today on NFL Films Presents.
Hold on to your seats for this play, folks.
What kind of a call is that?
This is when the big dogs come out.
This one's for Dog.
NFL.
TV.
And now, the dullest plays in pro football.
If you watch enough highlight shows, you've probably been brainwashed into believing that every play in the NFL produces eye-popping, jaw-dropping excitement. But who among us appreciates the boring plays? Anyone? 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 The touchback is duller than an Al Gore policy speech on C-SPAN. The quarterback kneeling down and the extra point are more humdrum than a Steve Gutenberg film festival. But my theory is that dull plays like the fair catch allow us to appreciate the exciting plays even more. Spiking the ball to kill the clock has its own boring beauty. So I hate it when someone ruins a good thing.
I believe Marino is saying I'm going to spike it, but 32, 31, 30 seconds to go.
Marino takes the snap from center. He's looking. He throws.
If you ask me, Marino ruined a perfectly dull play. Incidentally, if this segment seems a bit slow-moving, well, that's precisely the point. Anyway, I'm of the opinion that pro football's dullest plays have never been seen in their proper perspective until now.
Hi again. Thanks for taking the time to join us here on Edge NFL Matchup. Alongside Merrill Hodge and Ron Jaworski, I am Stuart Scott, and it has been a fat NFL season. Week 1, Garrison Hurst had that overtime 96-yard touchdown run to beat the Jets. Unbelievable. Guys, a lot of moments like that, but what in particular has really excited you all about this particular football season?
You know, Stuart, that's an easy one for me. I've really been impressed the way quarterbacks have been spiking the ball to stop the clock. And You know, it's really become a lost art, but you could tell the quarterbacks now are working on it. It's a kind of a play where you know you got to get rid of the ball quick. And because you want to save those tenths of a second, you can't use the big elongated motion. So it's real quick. Oh, man. Oh, booyah. Just like, that's it. Got to come out. Some other superb plays have been the kneel-down play, and I think that's also a lost art. You look at Brad Johnson, the Minnesota Viking quarterback, probably doing it better than anybody in the National Football League. What you'd like to do is take that snap and immediately get on one knee. You see a lot of these young quarterbacks drifting 2 and 3 yards back, and that's really taking away all the yardage that you ran during the football game. I really don't see Minnesota going to the playoffs or doing anything until Brad Johnson gets back and he can give them those type of plays.
Imagine what it would be like if the dull plays were treated with the same reverence as the exciting ones.
Pro football is autumn's game, but the path of glory, carved by gridiron's men of granite, also thunders with a force and fury that is timeless and terrifying.
Come on, let's go now. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Get him up there. Here we go. Fasten your seatbelts, folks. This could be the start of something big. What a way to start the football game. Do you believe my good? Do you believe it? I don't believe it. Magnificent. Oh, this is incredible. This is one of the very best. He has made the catch. How did he do it? How did he do it?
The man is magical.
Put that one in the highlights, Aunt Mary.
Hold on to your seatbelt.
White knuckle time. It couldn't be more dramatic. It couldn't be more dramatic. That'll do it. That'll do it.
Pro football is a majestic spectacle of mighty men and magic moments. This glorious game offers us a quest for excellence that enables all of us to measure the very best we can be.
I think in the 3 years that I've been here, I think that's the first time that we've knelt down 3 straight times at the end of the ball game. I like that. I like that. In case anybody wonders what we... That's good. That's good. We've been able to kneel 3 times at the end of the ball game.
Now, you said you cut a player at halftime?
Right. He didn't even come out the second half. In fact, I gave him a $10 bill and said, you ride home on the Greyhound. I'm not even letting you fly home with you. I want that to walk home. Don't let him get on the airplane.
The guy was playing so bad in the first half. You cut him in front of the whole team?
In front of the whole team. In fact, I asked him if he would just hit me on the chin. As I asked him, just punch me right on the jaw so I can say you hit somebody today before I cut you, because I haven't seen you hit us all.
When we return, more boring, tedious, senseless stuff. Now, what about on the, you were talking about the, see, I already lost my train of thought here.
I
So
sure
this is so dull. This is so dull. Jerry, has there ever been a coach that's rubbed you the wrong way?
I'll never forget